over this field. Of course, 4 different winners in 4 races in the Bandits. Brian looking to go green here. 6 laps. We're underway.
Well, key early on will be get good track position. We've got 8 cars making up the heat race this evening, Tim. And as you see, John Green pulling away to the early lead.
Down the back straightaway they hustle, and watch for Ernie Cree in that number 18. Of course, Ernie picked up that ride from Ronnie Tayo, and of course that was the same car that carried Ronnie to the track championship at Cornwall in the number 1. Of course, Ronnie moving up to the sportsman division. At lap 1, John Green, Stuart Musal, and Ernie Cree make up the top 3.
Well, a strong field of strong field of cars once again this week, as we've got car taking the really high side on the backstretch, as John Green will come around to lead lap 2.
And that was Corey Castell actually getting airborne over there. A couple of wheels went in the air, but he straightens it back out right in beside Randy Whiting there in the number 8. But it is John Green taking away the early advantage. Ernie Cree has now gotten past Stuart Musau to pick up the number 2 spot. Then it's Andy Fish and the ON of Owen White completing the top 5, halfway from Austin this time by 3 in and 3 to go.
Well, John Green continues to set the pace on this field, as with each lap you see him taking the same groove, keeping it low and clean, and then coming out high off of 2.
That's pretty much the groove right around this place in one of these Bandit cars, is let it drift in high and then go right down to the bottom side of the racetrack, almost kind of like a diamond, if you will, as John Green works it up off the corner. 2 laps to go. As I mentioned, he won back on June the 3rd with the 97.3 CKON FM radio Bandit Series. And Ernie Cree trying to play spoiler here as he works down the back straightaway in that number 2 spot.
Some great racing going on in the back of the field for the number 5 spot, as the B8R of Andy Fish and the ON of Owen White continuing to battle out for the 5th position, as the white flag is displayed here by Austin Swamp.
And good battle going on for that number 4 spot as Owen White has taken it away. Andy Fish relegated to 5th. It's Blaze Benedict, Corey Castell, Randy Whiting completing the rest of the field. But up in front, John Green's going to take the win here. And Brian, he did it in convincing fashion, about 5 car lengths the distance.
Well, he led every lap, and as I said, he set the pace early on, got a great start as Austin dropped the green flag to start this first heat race of the evening here at MIR. And taking him down, looking for the green flag, waiting for Austin to throw it. And they're underway. It'll be Jody Swamp getting out to the early lead as we go into lap 1 of the Parkway Auto Group and Parkway Country Polaris Pro Stock Mini Series. Coming out of 2 now, Louis Jackson likes the high side. Jody Swamp's going to keep it low as they go into turns 3 and 4.
And Rock Oban right there behind him in that 3rd spot, followed by Mark Lalone. But here comes Joey Lattiser down on the bottom. He's not wasting any time whatsoever. He'll go up to the number 4 spot at lap number 1. It is Jody Swamp, your early leader. Jackson and Oban, your top 3.
Well, as you see, Louis Jackson, the number 2 car, trying to figure out the high groove, the low groove. Jody Swamp, he likes the low groove right now, but as you said, you've got a pretty strong field of contenders behind him, the 4 of Rock Oban and Joey Lattiser as they come around to complete lap 2.
Champions in this field as well, and Rock Oban right in the middle of those 2 drivers. He runs 3rd. Good battle from the number 5 spot, even though it is about 5 or 6 car lengths back. Corey Wheeler has picked off the 5th spot from Mark Lalone. Up in front, Swamp goes way upstairs. Louis Jackson down low at lap 3.
That's a very strong top 3 of contenders right there. Jody Swamp, Louis Jackson now, as Corey Wheeler's going to give the old how's she going as he slips to the bottom coming out of 2.
And he does pick off that number 5 spot, and in the meantime, Rock Oban has gotten around Louis Jackson. So Jackson picking off, Oban picking off the number 3 spot from Jackson. It's Lattiser just patiently waiting back there in the 4th spot. Wheeler completes the top 5.
Well, your Parkway Auto Group and Parkway Country Polaris Pro Stock Mini Series, as you see, Joey Lattiser running 4th, Tim, but don't count him out. He's still got a few laps to make his way to the front.
And making his way to the front is Rock Oban with 3 laps to go. He has gotten around the veteran Jody Swamp, and now Oban will set the pace. Meanwhile, speaking of veterans, here comes Joey Lattiser up underneath Louis Jackson, not giving an inch off at turn 2. They'll drag race into turns 3 and 4, and Louis will shut the door on him in turn 3. Lattiser tries to battle back, but Jackson will keep the number 3 spot as he clips a tire coming off of turn 4. Stays in the 4th spot, though.
Rock Oban continues to set the pace. Now is Jody Swanson second. Jody Lattiser giving it a peek, coming down to the bottom of turn 2, not able to make it work as Louis Jackson's able to maintain the 3rd position.
Keep your eye on Corey Wheeler. He's not out of this one yet as well. White flag coming out this time as Rock Oban looking to run away and hide from the rest of the field down here as the Rock has got himself a heat win couple of weeks ago back on June the 3rd, and he'd love nothing better than get another one as Jody Swamp lurking back there in second. It's Jackson, Lattiser, Wheeler, and Lalonde. Your field, checkered flag this time by.
It'll be Rock Oban capturing the first heat race of the evening for the Pro Stocks Parkway Auto Group and Parkway Country.
Brun track champion here back in 2008, and I believe that is the Rod Tarbell number 17. We'll have to check that as it comes by. Green flag is out, 8 laps the distance, and of course, Brian, as we mentioned, Dave Papineau won his first feature of his career earlier this year, and he's got the top spot as he head for lap number 1.
David Papineau has been coming into his own the last few seasons, Tim, here at the Mohawk International Raceway. Each week he's getting better, getting more competitive. He's won a few feature races now in his early career as he's continuing to lead this second heat of the night, sponsored by the Parkway Auto Group and Parkway Country Polaris Mini Series.
As the field works down the front straightaway, Dave Papineau does have that number 1 spot. Ricky Thompson is right there with him, though. As they head down the back straightaway, Thompson is second. LeBrun has come up to 3rd, and right now it seems like Papineau has fallen off the pace just a little bit as he is relegated to 3rd, and Thompson and LeBrun drive by for the 1 and 2 spots, and the Bulldog going around the outside as well for 3rd.
Well, Papineau slowed just a bit, and they gave enough room for Ricky Thompson to slide in there to the number 1 spot, and Stefan LeBrun in 6th position said, you know what, Ricky, it seems like you found a way as we've got a couple cars going off the track here, potentially maybe a flat tire on one of the machines.
And Bissonette, for some reason, slowed considerably down the back straightaway. Not quite sure what the deal was there, as we know Dave Papineau had slowed. But in the meantime, up at the front of the field, Ricky Thompson has got his hands full with Stefan LeBrun. Both of these drivers former track champions here. Of course, LeBrun did it in 08. Thompson, your defending champion, as they work in lap number 5.
LeBrun, always a strong competitor wherever he goes. Right now, he's on the back bumper of Ricky Thompson. He's looking low, he's looking high, making Ricky think, where is this guy going to go? Is he going to stick it to the bottom or is he going to stick it to the top? As Ricky comes around turn number 4 to lead lap 5.
And Thompson and LeBrun having it out with each other at the front of the field. Of course, that number 17, we don't have an official driver name on that, but we believe that might be Rod Tarbell. We're not quite sure. Preston Musell in the 102 is 4th, followed by Morgan David in the 47. But the real battle, as we've been talking about this entire race, has been for the top spot, but Thompson has it as they come off turn 2.
Ricky Thompson now starting to gain some parking space between him and the 6 of Stefan LeBrun, as LeBrun comes in now bottom side of turn 3, but still Ricky Thompson coming around to collect the checkers from Austin Swamp.
And Stefan LeBrun will get the runner-up spot as the rest of the field comes on by. Here, Brian, and it's anybody's race right now, I believe.
It'll be Delormier and Benedict, the 2 front cars, and now Delorme is going to put the power to the clay as he takes the green flag from Austin Swamp. Going into turns 1 and 2, it'll be Delorme, followed by Benedict, the 66X of Kerry Torrance.
And a couple of cars getting twisted out of shape in the back as Tommy Jock got squeezed out of line with Melvin Rush and Rick Miller, but up in front, Roy Delorme. Roy only missed one night with us here in 2011. Glad to have him back as a regular here this year. Meanwhile, back there in the second spot, newest modified winner, Clayton Benedict is second, followed by Kerry Torrance and Gage Moran, along with Casey Swamp in 5th.
It'll be Gage Moran collecting the 4th spot by here as he'll be battling Casey Swamp as they go into turns 1 and 2. Still, your leader is Roy Delorme, followed by Clayton Benedict, Kerry Torrance, and the 66X.
Meanwhile, up in front, we see Delorme is your leader, but right there behind him is a great battle for that number 2 spot as Clayton Benedict has it. Kerry Torrance, who's definitely got things going his way. Of course, he took a trip down with the Big Block Super Dirt Car Series at Canandaigua earlier this week. Had a disappointing run down there, but still coming back tonight, having a great run here in the early going of this heat event.
Well, that's one thing that always seems to help young drivers getting that exposure, traveling the circuit a little bit, seeing what's out there, maybe learning a few tricks of the trade, as Roy Delorme has really been setting the pace, Tim, here early on.
And he is checked out on the rest of the field. And we mentioned Kerry Terrance going down to that Super Dirt Car Series race. He's got a pretty good teacher in his own right, of course, with teammate Dale Plank right there with you. Definitely gives you a little bit added confidence as they go into the stretch of the summer months here. But meanwhile, Roy Delorme, as we mentioned, putting a hurting on the field here with 6 laps complete.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Roy Delorme almost a full, half-track lead now, as you still see Clayton Benedict settling in comfortably in the number 2 spot. Kerry Terrance on the last lap had a little bit of company in the young Gage Moran.
And, of course, Gage Moran, just barely 20 years old in his 3rd full season, the modified racing, jumps to the back bumper of defending track champion Kerry Terrance. Casey Swamp, of course, you remember Casey running in the Pro Stock division. He's been in the modified class for a couple of years now. Would love to get that first feature win. Love to get it done tonight. 2 more laps to go. Leader is still Roy Delorme, but there's that battle for second again as we go through turn 2.
It'll be Kerry Terrance looking on the inside of Clayton Benedict, and Clayton Benedict is going to shut the door now as the white flag will come around to complete lap number 9, 1 to go.
Full straightaway advantage for Roy Delorme as they hit the back straightaway. Now Delorme puts the power into the ground through turns 3 and 4 and will quite handily and convincingly win this first qualifying heat for the modifieds. Delorme will get it, but that good battle for second is still up for grabs.
Clayton Benedict coming around turn 4. He'll collect the number 2 spot, followed by Kerry Terrance and the number 16 of young Gage Moran. It's Tim, you'd mentioned Gage, only 20 years old.
Chris Raby in the 01, and there's a guy right there who has racked up a ton of wins in karting and also in sportsman and modified competition.
It'll be Mike Perotti taking the green flag from Austin correction, that's from Chris Castle. And Mike Perotti with the early lead. Maurice Helm Ryan Helm on the backside. The 4J of Jeff Sykes gets around Helm to collect the number 2 position.
And Sykes was in danger of losing the number 4 spot going into turn 1. Meanwhile, he has gotten back up to challenge Mike Perotti for the early lead here. But look at Roy Tarbell when he won that feature back in June the 3rd. He went to the top side of the speedway and made it work. And he has charged around Ryan Helm, who's got his hands full with a ton of talent right there in Helm. Spins in turn number 4, and that will bring out the yellow for the first time in this one. 6 track championships among those 2 drivers at the front of the field. Jeff Sykes with 2, Perotti with 4, but Jeff Sykes has a win to his credit in the last year and a half at this speedway. Of course, he won last year in that emotional victory for the David Racing team, and he has already opened up a sizable lead on Perotti, who's got his hands full with Chris Raby and Roy Tarbell. Gardner Stone completes the top 5.
Mike Perotti, Roy Tarbell, Chris Raby battling out for the 2, 3, and 4th spot. Right there, I'm going to take a venture guess here, Tim. I would not be surprised to see these very 3 capable drivers make it 3 wide here at one point.
Well, you know, Jeff Sykes is all but checked out on everybody so far, and Roy Tarbell is not about to back down from anybody. Mike Perotti sitting back there in the number 2 spot going, how in the world did Sykes just get away from me like that? Chris Raby wants to get away from everybody out there in the number 3 spot as he is challenging Perotti at the halfway point, 5 and 5 to go. And right now, Tarbell closes in on Raby for the 3rd spot.
Well, that's one of the biggest issues with these cars, Tim. Not necessarily an issue, but break of momentum. Chris Raby had to get on the binders a little bit there as he got too close to Mike Perotti. That opened up some real estate for Roy Tarbell.
And, of course, speaking of momentum, Jeff Sykes with a lot of clear racetrack ahead of him has got his foot right to the floor, and with a lot of bite in this speedway right at the moment, he is able to at least a full straightaway right now. And a good battle still going on for that 2nd spot as we've got Perotti, Raby, and the 007 of there as they make their way through 3 and 4.
The veteran campaigner out of Elizabethtown, New York, Mike Perotti, going to stick it low into turns 1 and 2, not give any opening for Chris Raby. As you see Chris Raby trying to make it work downstairs, just not going to happen as Ryan Helm here apparently has some mechanical problems.
Well, it looks like the lifeline on that power plant may have expired going down the front straightaway here. Have to keep your eye on him. He is moving very slowly through turns 1 and 2. As long as the field gets by, he should be no problem, and they do. Checkered flag is out, and once again, another dominating performance in a qualifying heat as Raby and Perotti get into one another in turns 3 and 4. Raby's going to get the number 2 spot, and the 007 of Tarbell sneaks by for 3rd. I tell you what, these
Mike Perotti a little bit.
See Derek back. Green flag this time, 10 laps the distance.
Perry Francis with the early lead as he hammers away from the number 1 position. John Lazor slips into the number 2 position, getting away a little bit there from Delbert LeGros as the 1X of Todd Stone looking to take the number 3 position going into turns 3.
Two drivers who know each other very well in this division, Perry Francis and John Lazor, out there in the 1 and 2 spots as Todd Stone, who won his very first dirt car sanctioned feature here back in 1994 and is running in the number 3 spot right now. It's good to see Todd back with us as a regular here for 2011 again. The 2 machine of LeGros gets a little out of shape, and I believe a left rear tire is definitely gone bad. Or it looks like something in the left rear suspension has gone down. Could possibly be a sway bar of some sorts, and I believe it is, or a shock mount. Could have gone bad on that number 2, and he takes a pit side immediately. But at lap 3, Perry Francis has a mirror full, if these cars had mirrors, of John Lazor down the back straightaway.
Francis will come into turns 3 and 4. He's got John Lazor right on his backside. Lazor now going to try the higher side of the track. Perry Francis going to slip up top and say, I don't think so.
And Francis, who currently tied for 6th of the points with Jeff Sykes, would love to get this heat win as they work through turns 3 and 4. Lazor, Todd Stone right there with him. Francis bobbles, gets into Lazor just a little bit, and that's going to allow for Todd Stone to sneak on by to get the number 2 spot, but up at front in the head of the pack, it is John Lazor leading the parade down the back straightaway at lap number 5.
Well, that has been the key all evening, Tim. Do not make a slip up or any miscalculation of the steering wheel. You've got a lot of drivers right on your rear bumper waiting for that opening and to seize the opportunity, and that's exactly what John Lazor did that back there.
Well, track is very, very heavy right now, and everybody is, they got their foot right to the floor, and they're going fast. And when you make one slip up like that and try to correct yourself, somebody is always right there ready to take advantage of it, and that's exactly what we saw. As you see Brian McDonald back there in that 4th spot, that car seems like it's laying over on the right rear. You can see a little bit of smoke showing as he comes down the back straightaway. You can probably pick it up coming off of turn 4, but that car is leaning over big time on the right rear.
Well, he has set it up for a heavy track, and that's exactly why you're seeing him going around basically on 3 wheels. The sheet metal probably coming down, touching that right rear, creating the smoke that we're seeing here on lap number 8.
A little bit of a softer shock package on the right rear for Brian McDonald, but as they come off of turn 4, white flag is in the air for John Lazor. And unlike the first 2 qualifying heats we saw, not as much of a dominant win, but I tell you what, Lazor's had his way since he got the lead at lap 6 into turns 3 and 4. Looks like Lazor's going to get it.
Well, John Lazor will come around to collect the checkers here on lap 10 in your modified heat event of the evening. John Lazor won another campaigner damage done, but they got the cars back together this evening to join us as the green is thrown.
And when you know it, they're starting on the front row together. Green flag is out, and already Louis seeing some action here as Josh Jock got to his inside. Couldn't quite get by him, though. Mike Arquette in the number 2, along with the 11 of Brian Comp, the 29 of Tom Conklin, who picked up a win earlier with us this year. Corey Winters in the 33. Neil Provost in the 74 completes it. 1 lap is already in the books, and Jenna David, as we mentioned earlier, is having a pretty good season so far to start the year off. Ran the series race at Canandaigua and went from 17th to 10th in a very short time before being collected up in a melee on the backstretch. But she's got things going her way right now at lap number 2.
And she has the young campaigner Josh Jock right on her, let me say, about 5-6 car lengths. One of the things I was talking to young Josh Jock this evening, he had asked me if I'd noticed last week during hot laps his car, and I said, yeah, I noticed it kind of hit the rev limiter halfway down the front stretch, and he said, yeah, I forgot to change my gears from Cornwall.
And that's one of the things with experience. That'll take time to learn right there. It's just one of those small things that can be overlooked out there. But Josh Jock definitely is having a great season for 2011 and much better campaign than 2010, but he's right now in the number 2 spot. Tom Conklin is 3rd. Louis Jackson Jr. hanging in there in the number 4 spot, getting better and better in each and every week out there. Of course, Louis was a former karting champion over at Cornwall back a few years ago, jumped into the sportsman car this year and is having a fine performance here tonight. Mike Arquette, former regular runner in the Pro Stock division, he's trying the high side around Jackson, and he's one of those guys that has come to life in this division as well.
Oh, absolutely. Week in, week out, these guys are going at it very hard on lap 5 here, as we've got a little bit of a mix-up on turns 1 and 2 with Corey Winters getting a little sideways as Jenna David will come around to collect the lap 6.
2 more laps to go, and Jenna David is Looking like she might get her first career heat win out there in that number 2. She sets sail through turns 3 and 4. Josh Jock is second, followed by Tommy Conklin in third. White flag flies. Can Jenna David pull off the win here? We'll have to wait and see. She's got 3 more corners to do it.
Well, Jenna David, she's got half a track to get this done. Josh Jock in second. He's got company with Tom Conklin now as they come into turns 3 and 4. And the remaining 5 cars in the field putting on a display in the backstretch.
Jenna David has finally done it. Picks up her first career heat win. Josh Jock and Tommy Conklin follow suit. Louis Jackson Jr. I'll tell you what, we mentioned, 2 drivers with us tonight. And the veteran Marcel Picor in the 15L.
Making his way to the front early on for the number 2 position is the 27 of Sheldon Hogwarth, as he'll lead him around coming out of turns 2 now in company with Travis Back and Thunder Anderson as a fight for the number 2 position going into turns 3 and 4.
I tell you what, Sheldon Hogwarth, like a man possessed so far here in the early going. He leads the parade down the front straightaway with 1 lap up on the scoreboard. Travis Back in the number 2 spot in that number 1 machine with Thunder Anderson right there behind him in the 30X. Then comes the 7 of Benedict. Hagen is charged from his last starting spot up into the top 5. So the field goes through 3 and 4 at lap 2.
Well, nice of him to join us once again is the 92 NY Brad Winters, sponsored by SUNY Canton. Good to see him back as he comes from a pretty good legacy. His father, a longtime campaigner at Can-Am and other various local dirt tracks. So pretty good bloodline right there, Tim.
Absolutely, as the field works through 3 and 4. Right now it is all Sheldon Hogwarth as he is pretty much checked out on the rest of the field, and we've seen that happen throughout our modified heat events as the driver who can get to the front of the field the quickest, and barring any caution flags, which we hope they aren't, it looks like it's a for sure win out there as Hogwarth leads at lap 4.
Well, the battle right now is between the number 7 of Tom Benedict and the number 1 of Travis Back as they're battling it out for the number 2 position, but now Travis Back able to get some room as the number 12 car of Brendan Hagen's going to come up and say, what's going on up here, boys?
And he tried the inside line of Benedict off of turn 2. He couldn't quite get the job done that time. He'll settle in behind the number 7 machine, but as we mentioned earlier, Sheldon Hogwarth is making this first heat event look very easy as Thunder Anderson way out of shape. That's going to allow for Picor and possibly Brad Winters to get on by. Winters works the top side as Picor went down low, but Anderson's able to keep the spot as they work off turn 4 with 2 laps to go.
Well, positions 2, 3, and 4 is where to have your eyes on right now, folks, as you got the number 1 of Travis Back, the number 7 of Tom Benedict, and the number 12 of Brendan Hagen joining us again this evening. As coming around to collect a white flag will be the number 27 of Sheldon Hogwarth.
Full straightaway advantage to Travis Back in the number 2 spot. Then it's Tom Benedict in third. Brandon Hagen doing a pretty good job for himself up at that number 4 spot. Marcel Picor hanging on to 5th. Checkered flag is out. And Sheldon Hogwarth, yet another dominating win here in the Sportsman Division. He takes heat number 2.
Well, he's shown very well for himself here this season. He's got 1 feature win.
Kelsey in the 30, the 9 of Christian Smoke, the 1X of Mike White, last week's winner Dylan Evoy in the 83, and John McCourt in the 76 machine rounds out the rest of the field. Field working through turns 3 and 4, and Dylan Sallows has best of the veterans so far here in the early going. 1 lap up on the scoreboard as Brent Kelsey, we made a mention last week, he was en route to his first ever feature win in the Sportsman's. Had it not been for a caution, I talked to Dylan Evoy. He says, I may not have been able to catch him, but he eventually did catch Brent Kelsey and went on to the win. But it's Sallows, your leader, at lap 2.
Well, interesting that you mentioned the number 30 of Brent Kelsey, the campaigner out of Alex Bay, New York. I was reading an article in a local newspaper this past week, Tim, and it mentioned that he got started in racing kind of as a goof. A friend of his built a go-kart and said, hey, you want to give it a try? And look where he is now, running 3rd as we come around to complete lap 2 as we head into lap 3.
And Sallows working that number 1 spot. The battle for the runner-up spot continues here as Kelsey has the 2nd spot for a moment as Cook tries to fight back on the top side. Couldn't quite get the job done. Cook tries the crossover move this time down the front straightaway, but it's going to be Kelsey, Cook, Evoy, and Smoke, your top 5.
The battle now will be for the 3rd spot, as it will be Billy Cook going up on the high side of Billy will be the 83 machine of Dylan Evoy, not able to make the car stick as he heads into turn 3.
And Dylan Sallows leads the field down the front straightaway. Dylan picked up his career best finish of 2nd just a few weeks ago here at Mohawk. and would love nothing better than to get into victory lane for the very first time. But Brent Kelsey and Dylan Evoy may have something to say about this before the race's end. Meanwhile, Billy Cook is sliding backwards. He is into the clutches now. Christian Smoka completes the top 5.
Well, one of the great things about this class, Tim, that you're seeing more and more cars get added each week. It's becoming more affordable for the local racer. It's a crate engine. You go to a local GM dealer that provides them. You walk in, you pay the money, you walk out the door.
And John McCourt way off the speedway in turn 2. Gets back on, though. White flag is out. And Dylan Sallows does not want a qualifying heat with us here in 2011, but it looks like he may have the job done so far. Into turns 3 and 4 they go. Brent Kelsey and Dylan Evoy giving chase, but it's not going to be enough. First heat win of the season for Dylan Sallows in the number 11, as we got Mike White stopped right in front of one of those tires in turn 2.
Well, I believe Mike Mallett referred to him as a white powdered donut, Tim.
Oh, the 97.3 CKON FM for the Bandits. Frenchie's Built Ford Tough Sportsman Series. They'll debut this coming Thursday. Bailey Motor Company Pro Stock Series on the Speedway. 35 laps the scheduled distance. They're off and running, and already we got Preston Moosehouse spun in turns 1 and 2 with Morgan David going off the Speedway as well. And already our first caution flag of the evening.
Well, I do believe, Tim, we'll have to reset the field as we do not have a completed lap in here.
Sportsman's tomorrow should be a dandy show. And then, of course, Sunday night, double features for the Sportsmen's and Semi-Pros. We'll get into that a little later on as the green comes back out.
We've reset the field to be Rock Aubin. As he starts to pull away a little bit, coming up on the outside of him will be the one, Ricky Thompson. He'll take the lead coming out of 2.
And Thompson does get away from Aubin as they head through turns 3 and 4. Stefan Lebrun in the number 6 powers to the high side. He's going to get by the 69 of Swamp to take over the 4th position. Joey Lattiser battles back to the outside as well. He rides 5th with Corey Wheeler and the 18 of Jackson giving chase off at turn number 2.
Well, it'll be Joey Lattiser, who sits right now in the number 5 position. He's going to look to work his way up through the field as Ricky Thompson, Rock Aubin, and Stefan Lebrun will be your top 3 on lap 2. As
the field works down the back straightaway this time, Ricky Thompson, like a man possessed out there, he drives away from Aubin by about 2 car lengths as the field works through 3 and 4. Lebrun and Swamp get into one another into turn number 3, but they straighten themselves out with Lattiser in 5th.
Well, that is a veteran move right there by Jody Swamp. He realized he got into the backside of the number 6 Stefan Lebrun machine. He let off the gas, let Stefan Lebrun recollect himself and his car as they continue into turns 3 and 4.
Field working off of turn number 4 this time. Ricky Thompson, he's led every lap so far, and he'll lead this one down to the stripe. Lap number 4 is up on the scoreboard. Rock Aubin is second, followed by the 2008 track champion Stefan Lebrun. Look at Joey Lattiser go on the bottom side of the speedway. Last year, Joey made only a handful of starts, won over half the races he started with us, so he is one to watch for, and this one is Ron Tarbell is slowed in turn 3.
Great move by Joey Lattiser coming out of 2 as he slipped underneath the 69 machine of Jody Swamp to get himself now up into the number 4 position as he's starting to chase down the top 3.
And as I mentioned earlier, he is silent assassin out there. He'll just kind of patiently pick his way through the field wherever he starts and not really get up towards the lead until about midway to about 3/4 of the way through the race, and he is already up to 4th, just pacing himself down the back straightaway.
Ricky Thompson needs to be very careful here as he's putting his car into the corner. Rock Aubin looking for something on the inside. Is it there? We'll soon find out as they come around to complete lap number 6.
And the 1R of Thompson leads the way, but the really good battle right now is for that number 5 spot. Corey Wheeler got by the 69 of Jody Swamp, and Swamp tried to get him back in turn 1, but now he falls to the clutches of Louis Jackson as Swamp losing a ton of spots earlier on in this contest.
As you see, Louis Jackson now starting to work the outside of the 69 Jody Swamp. Bringing along with him is the 47 machine of Dave the Bulldog Bissonette.
And of course, Bissonette had problems in his qualifying heat earlier on tonight, slowed early on and did not make it back out. He's charged from the rear of the field. He's outside of Dave Papineau, and he'll take away and move into the top 10 here as we work lap number 9 with Ricky Thompson, your leader.
Ricky Thompson now starting to put a little more space between him and the number 4 car of Rock Aubin as the battle now will continue for the 3rd spot as it is Stefan Lebrun in 3rd, Joey Lattiser in 4th.
And Lattiser tried the outside. Now he's going to try the inside off of turn number 4. Couldn't quite get the job done that time. He'll settle in behind the number 6 of Lebrun. as Corey Wheeler battling from that number 5 spot. Louis Jackson, last week's feature winner, is 6th. Jody Swamp, Dave Bisson at each other for 7th and 8th. Dave Papineau is 9th. And Mark Lalone completes the top 10 as the field works in lap number 10, this time by.
10 in the books, 25 to go here as Ricky Thompson continues to lead. Rocco Ben slowly gaining a little bit of real estate on Ricky Thompson. He can catch him in the corners, Tim, but on the front stretch and back stretch, that's where Ricky's able to power away a little bit.
Seems like a lot of horses underneath the hood of that 1R machine as it works down in front. 12 laps up on the scoreboard this time, and lap machine already of Preston Musau right in the way of the leaders. Preston's going to get up out of the way and allow Thompson to get on by down on the inside, and Thompson will try and do so here. Musau giving him a lane down on the bottom, and Thompson will drag race him down the front stretch as the move over flag comes out. Obey is 2nd, then it's LeBrun in 3rd.
Starting to see a little bit of smoke come out of the 102 car of Preston Musa. Lap traffic in a 35 lap event, Tim, most certainly will play a role in this feature this evening.
And we're already quickly closing in on the halfway point of this one, the Bailey Motor Company Pro Stock Series, and Ricky Thompson, who started off the year on fire, winning the first 2 races of the season and also winning 1 at Cornwall this year. 3 wins overall, looking towards a 4th here just before halfway. It's Obey, LeBrun, and now watch for Lattiser. He's working that outside groove.
Lap traffic is going to be a factor here as LeBron's going to slip underneath, or try to slip underneath, rather, of the 102 of Preston Musa, as Joey Lattiser is going to stick in the high lane, but that's where the lap traffic remains.
And he pretty much used that lap machine as a pick. He gets to the outside of LeBrun and gets on by. Remember, a few years ago, these 2 drivers battled for the championship week in and week out at Autodrome Edelweiss, with LeBrun eventually winning out, but Lattiser making his presence known here tonight as he works on that 3rd spot with LeBrun in 4th. Corey Wheeler still hanging in the top 5 in 5th.
Ricky Thompson continues to lead the field. Rock Allband trying to close the gap desperately as we're working just about to the halfway mark here. The number 3 car, 3rd position car will be the 92 of Joey Lattiser.
And right now, Lattiser making some serious gains here just before the halfway point, but Ricky Thompson is setting sail and running away with this one here as he works off corners 3 and 4. Still lots of bite left in the track, and Thompson using it to his advantage, running away with this one, but the battle is going to be for the number 2 spot at lap 18.
You cannot say enough about the track and its conditions it's in tonight. It's making for a multi-groove racing surface. What a great feature we got going on here now, but as the battle for the number 2 spot continues between Rocco Ben and the 92 machine of Joey Lattiser.
And Corey Wheeler starting to come up into the fray here as well. He is closed in on LeBrun for that number 4 spot. Black flag coming out for Musau as he is laying down a whole lot of smoke on the front straightaway. Meanwhile, back up front, Thompson leads the way, but Brian, as you mentioned, Joey Lattiser is starting to march forward.
The number 4 machine of Rock Oban got a little sideways coming out of 2, and Joey Lattiser was able to close that gap even more. 15 to go as the black flag is still being shown for the 102 machine of Preston Musa.
20 laps up on the scoreboard, 15 more remain. Can anybody do anything with Ricky Thompson? We'll have to wait and see. As they work down the front stretch, it's Thompson, your leader, by about a half straightaway now as they work in lap 21.
Ricky Thompson has his machine hooked up here this evening, folks. Black flags continuously being displayed, but Ricky Thompson now starting to create more and more distance between him and himself. The number 4, Rocco Bent, trying to close the gap, but he's got Joey Lattiser right on his back bumper.
And Obey not about to give up that number 2 spot very easily here as Obey is setting sail through the middle of the racetrack, and your leader is slowed off of turn number 2. Joey Lattiser is going to take full advantage of that, powers to the inside of Obey for second, and now we have ourselves a 6-car battle. It's amazing how fast this happens, Brian. For that lead, 23 laps up on the scoreboard, Thompson just slowed out of nowhere coming off of 2.
Many different things could have happened there. Ricky could have thought he was dropping a cylinder, maybe losing the motor, something else. He was able to collect his car back up and continue to lead. But now, he's all the position he had, all the lead he had is now lost. He's got some pretty strong competition right behind him.
And Joey Lattiser thought for a moment that he was just going to sneak by and take second and the top spot. Has not been able to do anything with Thompson, though. Thompson picked it right back up into turns 3 and 4 and still has the top spot, but Joey Lattiser is right there with him. It's Obey in 3rd, followed by Stefan LeBrun, the 47 of Wheeler, and the 18 of Jackson. 6 cars for the win here with 10 to go.
10 to go, as you said, in this 35-lap event. Ricky Thompson got some competition now with Joey Ladouceur. Ladouceur is going to look to try to take it low coming into turns 3 and 4. Will he be able to get by? No, as Ricky Thompson will lead on lap 26.
And Corey Wheeler trying to make some moves towards about midway through the top 5 here as he tries to get by the 6 of Stefan Lebrun for the number 4 spot. Couldn't quite get the job done, though. Louis Jackson starts to close in, too. He wants a piece of this action as they work through turns 3 and 4. Thompson a little bit slow off of turn 4. Here comes Ladouceur with a bit on the top side. No such doing, though.
One thing right now, Tim, going through Ricky's mind is please, no yellow, no yellow, no yellow. If we get the yellow back out here, it's going to bring these strong field of cars back together, and anything can happen, as now we're looking to start a lap 28.
7 more laps to go. Lap machine of the Bulldog Dave Bissonette right in front of the leaders. Will this play a factor in the outcome of this race? We'll have to wait and see as Thompson and Ladouceur battle for the 1 and 2 spots. It's Obey in third. Corey Wheeler still trying to get by Lebrun for the number 4 spot as they work off turn 4 with 6 to go this time by.
As you had mentioned, lap traffic to be the issue here as we've got 6 laps remaining. One thing to do when you're in lap traffic, Tim, you've got to make a decision, make it quick, and just go with it.
Do I go high? Do I go low? Do I go through the middle? What do I do? Have to wait and see when he gets there. Right now, coming off of turn 4, 5 to go, and Joey Ladouceur digging down on the bottom side of the speedway. He's not going to let Thompson get away with this one here as they work in lap number 30. Obey is third, and right now a change for the number 5 spot as Louis Jackson has gotten by Corey Wheeler.
And that's one advantage being the second place car now of Joey Ladouceur. He's going to be able to sit back if lap traffic does get to be an issue. But if something goes wrong with the Ricky Thompson machine as he's got a right front wheel, a little squirrely. So
could be a tie rod issue for that 1R machine. Not exactly sure what has happened, but Joey Ladouceur has taken over the lead here, and Thompson slows in turn number 2. What a tough break for Ricky. With 3 laps left to go, it could be all Joey Ladouceur from here.
Joey Ladouceur taking full advantage of the mechanical failure of the 1R machine of Ricky Thompson. Tough break for Ricky Thompson as he led all the laps, drove a great race so far, as now Rock Oban in the number 2 position looking to track down Joey Ladouceur.
2 more laps to go, and Ladouceur has got about 3 car lengths on Rock Oban for the number 2 spot. It's Stefan Lebrun in third. And Louis Jackson is taken 4th away from Corey Wheeler, who rides in 5th. White flag is in the air, and Brian, it's all yours, my friend. Take us home.
It'll be Joey Ladouceur around to collect the white flag from Austin Swamp. Joey Ladouceur in first. In second is the number 4 machine of Rock Oban. Ladouceur now on the backstretch, looking to create a little more real estate between him and the number 2 car of Rock Oban. Ladouceur will dip her down low between turns 3 and 4. He'll come around the truck, collect the checkered flags of the Parkway Auto Group Parkway Country Polaris Pro Stock Mini Series. Joey Ladouceur, your feature winner this evening.
Getting a little better. Conference 2020 and a view Duluth on the side of the 92, Joey Ladouceur. And we'll chat with him here as he gets unbuckled. The first thing out of his mouth was, that was a lot of fun out there. Of course, it's always a lot of fun when you're down in victory lane. Tough break once again for Ricky Thompson, leading pretty much the entire way. And a left front giving away on his machine. And there he is out of the car. How about a round of applause for him, the 92 of Joey Ladouceur. And of course, I'd like to thank the good people at Bailey Motor Company for sponsoring this 3-race mini-series for the Pro Stocks. We'll jump down and get another victory lane interview with Joey Ladouceur. I believe, I don't know, this is about the 3rd or 4th time we've done this. What a strange way to end this one, of course. Ricky Thompson looks like he's gone. All of a sudden he slows. You go right into second. It looked like you're going to get the lead. What's going through your mind at that point?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I seen backfiring coming out of his exhaust. I say he's got some problems. Then we all kind of slowed up because I thought he was going to the pits, and then he kept going. And then I gave him a few laps just to make sure everything was all right, and he was on her.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was all I could do to stay with him, but
Right.
he was going in high, coming out low, and that's what I was doing, so it was hard for me to get beside him. And I don't know if I would have got him if he wouldn't have had his problems. He's been quick all year, so fortunate enough that it worked out my way.
And of course, track, definitely just standing here, his shoes are sticking into the track. Definitely lots of bite in there, and definitely would make it hard to pass, isn't it?
Well, it makes that fine line a little wider.